In 1944, a young soldier wrote a letter he never sent. 70 years later, that letter would save his life in a way he never imagined. This is the true story of Jakob Müller, the man who survived the impossible. Berlin, 1925. Jakob Müller was born into a world that would soon tear itself apart. His father was a baker, his mother a schoolteacher. They were ordinary people living ordinary lives, until they weren't. By 1939, when Jakob turned 14, the world had changed. War wasn't coming. It had arrived. And for Jakob's family, being Jewish in Nazi Germany meant every day could be their last. But Jakob had something most didn't have: hope, and a childhood friend named Friedrich, a boy who would risk everything to keep a promise. November 1942. Jakob was 17 when the SS came to his door. His parents were taken first, loaded onto cattle cars headed east. Jakob watched from a neighbor's window, hidden by Friedrich's family. "I'll find them," Jakob whispered. "I'll bring them back." Friedrich grabbed his arm. "You can't. You'll die." "Then, I'll die trying." 3 days later, Jakob did the unthinkable. He volunteered for a labor battalion, a desperate gamble to get closer to where his parents had been sent. Friedrich begged him not to go. "If you don't come back," Friedrich said, his voice breaking, "I'll never forgive you." 2. Jakob smiled, a sad, knowing smile. "Then I'll come back." They were the last words they'd speak for 70 years. What Jakob saw in the camps, there are no words. He wasn't sent to Auschwitz. He went to Mauthausen, a stone quarry in Austria, where prisoners carried rocks until their bodies gave out. Every morning, men who couldn't stand were shot. Every night, Jakob whispered his parents' names like a prayer. He never found them. But something kept him alive. Something beyond survival instinct. It was a letter. Before leaving Berlin, Jakob had written to Friedrich, a letter filled with memories, with gratitude, with goodbye. But he never sent it. He kept it folded in his boot, pressed against his skin, a reminder that somewhere, someone still remembered his name. The guards never found it. Through selections, through beatings, through the winter of 1944, when men dropped dead in the snow, Jakob kept that letter. January 1945. The Russians were coming. The Nazis knew they were losing, and they couldn't let the prisoners tell their stories. The order came down: evacuate the camps. March the prisoners west, through the snow, through the cold, through hell itself. They called them death marches for a reason. Jakob was so weak he could barely stand. His feet were frostbitten. His ribs showed through his skin. But when the gates opened, he walked. For 3 weeks they marched. Men dropped every mile. The guards shot anyone who fell behind. Jakob should have died. His body wanted to. But every time he stumbled, he felt that letter against his skin, a promise he hadn't kept. "I'll come back," he'd told Friedrich. So he kept walking. April 12th, 1945. Jakob heard the rumble of tanks. For a moment, he thought it was the end, that the Nazis would finish them off before the Allies arrived. Then he saw the star. The white star on the side of the tank. Americans. Jakob collapsed. He didn't remember the next 2 weeks. Typhus, the doctors said. Starvation. Exposure. His body had finally given out, but he'd made it. Against every odd, against every law of nature, Jakob Müller had survived. When he finally woke up in a field hospital, the first thing he did was reach for his boot. The letter was still there. But when he asked about going home to Berlin, the nurses looked away. "Berlin is Soviet now," they said. "You can't go back." Jakob rebuilt his life in America. He learned English. He became a tailor. He married a kind woman who asked few questions about the numbers on his arm. But he never sent the letter. Friedrich was in East Germany, behind the Iron Curtain, unreachable. Jakob told himself Friedrich had probably forgotten him, moved on, maybe even died. It was easier than hoping. 50 years passed. Jakob's wife died. His hands grew weak. He sold his shop and moved into a small apartment in Brooklyn. He kept the letter in a drawer. Sometimes on bad nights, he'd take it out and read his own 17-year-old handwriting, a boy who still believed in promises. "I'll come back," he'd written. But he never did. 2014. Jakob was 89 years old. A volunteer from a Holocaust remembrance organization contacted him. They were compiling testimonies, digitizing records, reconnecting survivors. "We found someone looking for you," she said. "A Friedrich Zimmermann in Berlin. He says you were childhood friends." Jakob's hands shook so badly he dropped the phone. They arranged a video call. Jakob sat in front of the computer screen, his heart pounding like he was 17 again. And then he saw him. Friedrich, 90 years old, white-haired, crying. "You came back," Friedrich whispered in German. "You kept your promise." Jakob couldn't speak. He just held up the letter, the one he'd written 70 years ago, the one that had kept him alive. "I never forgot," Jakob said. "Not for a single day." They talked for 3 hours, about their families, about the war, about all the years lost between them. Friedrich asked, "Why didn't you ever send it?" "The letter?" Jakob smiled, the same sad, knowing smile from 1942. "Because I needed to give it to you myself." 1 week later, Jakob sealed the letter in an envelope and sent it across the ocean. Friedrich received it on his 91st birthday. Jakob died 3 months after that, peacefully, in his sleep, with no regrets. At his funeral, they found a note in his pocket. It said, "Friedrich received the letter. I kept my promise. I came back." Some promises take a lifetime to keep, but they're worth it.